Welcome to the Cyber Life Podcast. Remember, if you like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe, download, rate 5 stars, of course, and share this podcast with everyone you know. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Cyber Life Podcast. My name is Ken Underhill, your host. In today's episode, I have a special guest. You guys have probably seen Rob quite a bit on LinkedIn. We banter back and forth often. I make fun of him. He makes fun of me, and it all works out to get more traction to our post. And that's our secret sauce. So now you know. So Rob, you are teaching online. You're teaching some certifications and stuff. You've got your own business. Can you sort of share with the audience? Well, first off, just kind of introduce yourself, because I probably didn't do a good enough job of hyping you up. And then just kind of share, like, how'd you get into IT in the first place?
Sounds good. All right, Ken. First thing, thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. So I'm Dwayne Roberts. I go by Rob. I started out in IT in 2007, which is a little bit of a funny story. So growing up, I wasn't really into technology. Wasn't a nerd or a geek, I guess you could say. But 2007 came, and I was doing heating and cooling. You know, I was like the AC guy, and I pretty much almost died in an attic. And that day, I decided to go to the recruiter's office and tell him, "Hey, man, I need to figure something else out. I got to do something else." And I pretty much told him I didn't want a job with rocket or gunner in the job title. And he said, "Okay, what about computers?" I said, "Okay." And pretty much that birthed my IT career. So the bulk of my training was in the Army. So I was in the Army, went to training. While in the Army, I was, everything you think of: a project manager, a network engineer, security analyst, security engineer, pretty much anything they needed me to be. And then fast forward all the way to 2016, I got out of the military and I started teaching. Pretty much happened every day.
Cool. So what sort of made you make the jump from working for somebody else or working for these vocational schools to doing your own thing? Were you seeing that there was a certain need they weren't meeting, or were you kind of seeing like, hey, I'm only getting paid X dollars and they're making a ton off me?
Man, it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
One thing, primarily, trying to be a good Samaritan, trying to be a good person. I was just noticing that a lot of places I was teaching for just, I don't know, it just seemed like they didn't care. Just like, okay, here goes stuff that's going to be on the test. Good luck. And it was kind of, not up to date, not practical. And, quite frankly, just didn't work. And then, a lot of schools I was working for, it was just, they were making, like I said, it was one of some of the schools I worked for, tuition may be $30,000 a student. There's 30 students in the class, and you do the math, and I'm not even making a quarter of that. So I was like, yeah, I think we'll try this out on my own. And, praises to the Most High. It's worked out so far, so I can't complain.
Cool. You've got a lot of certifications. I always have to ask this on pretty much anytime I interview somebody on the podcast. What is sort of your personal view, and just taking the fact out that you own your own business related to like certifications and training, what's your sort of view on the trifecta of experience versus certifications versus college degrees? Are you one of those people that sort of finds value in all of those, or is there a particular one that you say this is probably the most valuable thing to have?
Man, that is a awesome question. So just so, there's no bias, I have a degree as well. So I have my MBA, right? And the military paid for my MBA. So that's kind of one of the main reasons I got my MBA. If somebody asks me, okay, I only have a set amount of money, a set amount of time to get into IT, should I go to college or should I get a certification? I would say, as far as I'm concerned, from what I can see, is that certification leads to quicker returns. And a lot of times the certification is going to only complement a degree anyway. So if you want to be in a managerial position or something like that, a degree may be a little bit more beneficial. But a lot of times with technology, as fast as it moves, if we just had the iPhone 10, tomorrow it'd be the iPhone 15. Translating that towards a degree, if you have a tech degree from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, how useful is that today? Not really. So if it was up to me, I would say go for certifications and experience as opposed to a degree. Now, does degrees suck? No. If you got a degree, are you wrong? No. But if I had the choice, if I was talking to somebody right now, I would say get certifications. And that's what I pretty much tell people is that if you want to get into technology, I would say go for experience and the certifications.
Awesome advice. Now, you're a veteran, of course. I'm a veteran. I know that when I got out, and I didn't go straight into like anything IT, I was a medic and stuff, but
Okay.
that transition period, because there are a lot of people that listen to this that are currently active duty military, and they're preparing, or they may be at some point in the next few years preparing to get out.
Right.
Is there anything that you found beneficial during that transition period? So did you find that the base that you ended on, whether, wherever that was, did they have enough programs for you that you could take advantage of that as you were transitioning, or did you have to go out searching for things on your own? And I know your perspective, I started my service long before yours. And back then there wasn't necessarily an easy avenue to find all those things. So that's why I'm kind of asking. One, personally, I want to see if there's more of that out there where it's more beneficial to people. And number two, if you can offer any resources for somebody that might be transitioning that they should be looking for, whether that's on base or things they should be Googling, anything that you can recommend someone out there.
So I got on 2016, and the transition program is actually pretty good. So the transition program is pretty much, they try to get you ready for civilian life, whether that's the resume you may need, job search help, but in general, that's cool. It's more of a supplement. If you are literally getting out of the military and your plan is, man, I'm just gonna get out, that's not a good plan. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out for you. So just make sure that if you want to get out, and I know sometimes, if veterans listen to this, they'll understand. Sometimes it's just like, you may just had a super rough day. You may be coming off a deployment. You may be coming out of the field. You may just, stuff might just be rough. Because sometimes in the military, your MOS or your job is your job, but you have 1,000 jobs. You may have soldiers underneath you. You're getting it from the top, the bottom, in between. You got it just gets rough. So what I would say is, just how you took yourself up and figured out, okay, this is how I get promoted. This is how I pass the PT test. This is what I have to do at the range. This is what I have to do, and pretty much did all that stuff and made yourself self-sufficient. You have to do that stuff on the outside of 100-fold, because in the military, it may seem like you are a go-getter, and you are a go-getter, but a lot of the stuff is you push, you prod it. You got to do this, or you're gonna do push-ups. You got to do this, or you're gonna get written up. You got to do this, So there is no you got to do anything. You can be a bum. Oh well, that's on you. You have to. You have to put in the work. And me, honestly, I did. How long was I in? Almost 8 years. So I did 8 years. I got up to, and that's another thing. So that's one good thing about the military is that it's in black and white. If you want to get promoted, you do this and that, you'll get promoted. So I figured that out, got up to E6, and then once I kind of got to, I deployed and all that stuff, I got to a point that I was like, me in the military, calling it separate, need to go our separate ways. About 2 years out, I pretty much started to transition. That doesn't mean that I stopped showing up to work or took off my uniform and threw it in the trash. It just means that mentally, no, not mentally, that's not a good way to say it. Pretty much I was setting myself up for a transition. So one way that I did that is LinkedIn. LinkedIn can literally change your life if you use it right. I think that rhymed. Yeah, it did. LinkedIn can change your life if you use it right. So you can get on LinkedIn, and I know it's not as sexy as Facebook and Instagram. It may not be as cool, but the main thing I would do, and the thing that can really help you in your transition, is LinkedIn, and just the internet in general, because it puts so many different people at your fingertips, people that you wouldn't have access to. So I would say, whatever field you want to be in, I would start connecting with those people on LinkedIn, start connecting with resume writers, recruiters, other vets, and just pretty much, get your stuff honed in on LinkedIn. So long story short, if you think about transition, however much time you got on your contract, you need to use that time to get as much education as you can, as much training as you can, and start connecting with people via LinkedIn and other, meetup groups or wherever you want to go. Pretty much your goal is, I'm gonna tell you what my goal was, and thank God I accomplished it. It was that I wanted to have a job while I was on leave. So with the leave, it's just pretty much like your vacation time, the time that you have left before you get out. I think I had 60 days. So I had 60 days of leave, and I was, I had a job secured, had built up my LinkedIn network, and I was getting, paid from the Army and paid from, my new job, because it's completely possible to do it. So long story short, don't be afraid. You went through basic training, you got cussed out, spit at, maybe shot at, blown up. Don't be worried about transition.
Cool. Yeah, we got many stories we could share. We won't do that on this episode. We could probably go back and forth for hours about the Army. So you mentioned a good point there with LinkedIn. I want to just piggyback off that. I think also you need to ask for help if you're transitioning. Like, don't just like connect. Like, don't connect with, Rob, don't connect with me and then like do nothing. Like I can tell you right now, I'm not a mind reader. I have no idea what's happening in your life. I have no clue.
Nope.
But if you reach out to me and say, hey man, I'm transitioning, because I got out, I'm not going to date myself, many years ago.
I'm proud of you regardless. No matter.
There you go, man. I tell you what, if you can make it through, you know what? Let's sidebar real quick. Where'd you do basic, man?
Fort Benning, man.
Fort Benning?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, if you did like Relaxing Jackson or something, I may have to hang up on you. Yeah, I did Mother Sill.
Okay.
Certainly experienced, especially. I remember probably, I think it was like week 3 or 4. They took us over by the artillery to show us that, and they gave us these earplugs, and I couldn't figure them out. So like, I almost blew my eardrum out when they shot off one of the guns. So I figured it out quickly after that. How to.
That's right.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a learning process. Anyways, we'll get back on.
Hey, let me piggyback off of that and tell you a quick story.
Oh, do it, man. Do it.
Training, right? I was in basic training, and this is what was making me rethink my whole enjoyment, right? So anyway, long story short, it's not funny when people cry, but anyway, he was having a tough time, and the drill sergeant was yelling at him and angry, and the guy started crying, and my drill sergeant tasted his tears. He wiped off the guy's tears and tasted it. I said, "Oh man, this is real. I don't know if I'll make it." But yeah. So long story short, if you can make it through basic training, a job interview or fill out a resume, no big deal.
Yeah. That's definitely nothing. I have to ask, because I guess I was just a little naive when I signed up. I kind of did it out of boredom. I did for two main reasons. I signed up out of boredom, and then also, I wanted to be a paramedic because, I saw they got girls and I wanted to get girls. So, hey, let's just be honest here, right? Let's be honest. So those were my pushing points. It wasn't patriotism or anything like that. That stuff came later, of course, but
that's right. That's
true. Like reality is most people don't go in for.
Good for being honest. Thanks for being honest, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to ask, for me, the first time I heard about police call, I got so excited. Like I was so excited, and then I realized what it was. And for those that don't know, you just pick up trash. You stand in a long line and you go pick up trash.
You got to give them the full. You pick up all the trash.
Everything.
All the trash that's ever been thrown. You pick all of it.
And I swear, man, the drill sergeants would go out there and just pour bags of trash out there before we would go out. I swear. You can't tell me they didn't, man.
They had to. They're like, where's this? We just did this yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah. We walk this same thing every day, twice a day. What's it? The other thing that got me, that fooled me, was kitchen patrol. Did you have to do KP at all?
No, you know what? Somehow I did it later on, but in basic training, I never got KP.
Oh, man, you lucked out. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I thought it was so cool, man. I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be like the MPs, right? We're going to patrol the kitchen and make sure it's safe. I'm doing dishes. I'm sweeping floors. Yeah. So if you're out there listening to this episode and you're thinking about, I want to go sign up for the military, when you hear them use certain terms, just be wary of that and don't volunteer. That's my best advice there.
And then just the last thing on that.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to a guy today, and this is coming from 2 veterans that paid our dues, blah blah blah. And I was talking to somebody, and this comes up a lot. They're gonna give me this. They're gonna give me that. They're gonna give me housing. They're gonna give me education. They're gonna give me that. I said, listen, man, you have to understand, you earn all of that stuff. Like they're not gonna give you anything. Like you earn all that stuff. And like I said, I don't regret, joining at all. I did a good job, succeeded, I excelled, blah blah blah. But it's just it molds you into a better person. But like I said, you're gonna earn everything. But the funny thing is, another thing about people that transitioning, it's not like just younger people or people that was only in for a couple years, so privates or specialists. I have higher ranking people that ask me for advice. It's sergeant majors, it's colonels, it's captains that are literally terrified of getting out because some people it's all they know. So they got in at 18, they getting out at 40 something or 50 something, and it's like, damn, what do I do now? Now, pretty much the same thing you said. I always like, if you got shot at and blown up, and you went to basic training, and you went through this training, and you did this, and you had to do that, like, don't be scared of, somebody, sitting across from you in the suit, asking you a few questions, man. It's no big deal.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, it makes a lot of things in life, not just, job interviews, but it makes a lot of things in life so much easier because anytime, you maybe think of complaining about something, you think back to some of the stuff you've been through, you're like, oh, well, this isn't so bad. This is
Nope.
this is great.
That's right.
I don't have to crawl through the mud.
That's right, man. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, we'll for everyone listening, we'll jump off the soapboxes now of basically.
No, kid. Coming soon, the Veterans Podcast.
There you go. Yeah, we'll get that. We'll just share all sorts of stories. My goodness, I'm telling you, man, I could keep you here for hours just
you
sharing
both
stuff, man. Anyways, I'm gonna spin it back real quick to your MBA. I wanted to ask, did you get of course you got it because it was it was free, just like when I did my master's over there at Western Governors too in cybersecurity. It's free, it's from the military. But was your sort of purpose with getting the MBA versus other stuff the aspect of you're like, hey, I know I want to start my own business? Was that part of the push on that, or was it something that you just kind of always wanted to get an MBA, or was it just something you're like, well, that's probably the the lowest type of barrier degree I can get or something? Like what was kind of the push on your end to get an MBA versus other stuff? Because obviously your business is related to technology.
Right. It's funny you asked that, you mentioned it. Why did I get my MBA? Because to be honest, Ken, the stuff I learned in my MBA wasn't really applicable to. I guess it was applicable, but it was just like it wasn't necessarily real world stuff. Like me actually owning a business kind of made me, I don't know, maybe I was jaded a little bit because a lot of times we were going through stuff. I was like, that's not real. It's not how it goes. The MBA, what I will say is that it kind of showed me a few things as far as how to structure the business and stuff like that. But as far as why did I do it, honestly, just damn, it sounds bad, but man, honestly, really, it's because I'll be like, okay, I got an MBA. Nobody else in my family has a master's, so that was one of the pivotal points. But I don't think it's like, as far as that's kind of one of the reasons I didn't, because I didn't know if it was kind of like, I don't know if it was like a douchey move or not. That's why I didn't really put it in my, because I just got it like a month ago. That's why I didn't put it in my my LinkedIn little thing, because it's kind of like, MBA. Because honestly, after you get your MBA and master's, you're not really, I don't feel like I'm a master of business. If I feel like I got any level of mastery from actually doing it in practical experience. And I think that's another thing, as far as, to tie back into the IT stuff and the certs. It's cool to have the certs, but eventually you got to get dirty, man. Eventually you have to do this stuff, man. You have to, you know what I'm saying? Because it's cool to have a piece of paper and that's going to get your foot in the door. But if you haven't actually done this stuff, it's going to be, whether you got a degree, that's another thing why I kind of put certs in front of degrees, right? Because certifications, right? Certifications, you get a certification in a couple months and, have, 6 months or a year of internship and rocking out, getting experience. And you'll actually be in the field with an actual job, a good job in 2-3 years, or maybe a year, while somebody is still, trying to get the degree in 4 years. Because as far as I'm concerned, and then another thing is, a lot of the progressive companies like Google, and a few other big companies, they're not really looking at degrees as much anymore. They're kind of like more focused on, can you actually do the job,
No, exactly. Yeah. And I've seen that transition over the past several years. And not just in the IT or cybersecurity space, many industries are like, well, we don't really need you to have a degree because we have to train you anyways when you get here.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's great. I don't think you should discredit the MBA on your profile. I think you should be, proud of that. You accomplished it. A lot of people never will get a master's. They
True.
don't believe in themselves. So I do agree with the aspect, because I've looked at many. I looked at, of course, the one you went to. Also looked at some higher end private universities
Hmm.
that have, number one, number two programs in the country. And what I found is, I would say 6 to 12 months of running your own business will teach you a lot more than you'll ever learn in any MBA, even the top, Harvard or
Yes.
Princeton or
Yep.
Yale, anything. And it's not the aspect of like, there's not good information in an MBA program, but I think they're more geared towards, you want to be an executive, you want to be a manager in somebody else's company where you
That's
don't have
right.
to think, you don't have to necessarily think from an innovative standpoint. Like as an
Mm.
example, we both do online stuff. So we both are aware of a tool called ClickFunnels, for those that out there that don't know what that is.
Yeah, we
But anyways, we're not going to jump into that, because again, that could be hours long conversation I could have. I love it, by the way. But what you have to do, especially in an online business, is you have to do a lot of things that you don't necessarily learn in an MBA program. You learn like marketing in MBA school, but you don't learn marketing of the aspect of like, hey man, I've got $50 to advertise with, right? Like I've got to, like I've got to figure this out, or I have no advertising budget. So instead of money, I've got to trade time, and I've got to figure out how to best use my time. You don't deal with the aspect of like, how should I really legally structure my business where I can afford it right now to then also protect myself, and like all these things
That's
that
right.
they don't teach you in an MBA program, that you really learn either on your own as you start a business. Like, ooh, this is tough. Because I've met many MBAs that go try to start a business and fail miserably, but then I've met, and in fact, most of the people, thinking to it, there's probably maybe just one successful business owner I know with an MBA. Every single other one either has no degree, no college, or they have like, something like us, right? Where it's, a bachelor's in,
Yep. Yep.
technology or whatever, something not necessarily business related. So yeah, I just want to jump on that real quick, is, number one, you should be proud of it, because that's something you accomplished. First person in your family, you should be, proud of that.
Thank you.
But also, the aspect of like going back to what you were saying about college, right? You spend all these years in college, and I think there's value there, and I think there's some value maybe over a certification, in the aspect of like, you can't take away my degree, but but my certification does have an expiration date. But then
You
there's the flip side of that, of the certification having an expiration date kind of forces you to keep up on things, et
That's
cetera.
right.
And so, yeah, man, I just, I just want to throw that perspective out there, because I've had several businesses over the years, and nothing that I found in an ABA school was anything really. Some of the more expensive programs, and there, again, I didn't see an ROI there, right? But
Mm.
some of the more expensive programs gave you the financial analyst angle as well. Like they made you take a couple of classes so you could focus more on capital budgeting and
Yep.
calculate
Yep.
stuff
Yep.
out and that sort of stuff. But again, if you think about it, as a business owner, you can hire somebody to do all that stuff. You don't need to, it's good to know that stuff. You definitely had to have, it's all about the numbers, right? And
Yep.
you probably know that since you've been able to stay in business this long. It's all about the numbers. And if you understand the numbers, if you understand your P&L or profit and loss statement, for those out there that don't know what that is, if you understand all that stuff and you can run it efficiently, then you can hire people, and even online services that'll do that for a monthly fee, to do all these other things for you that you would learn in an MBA program. So that's my spiel on it. That's coming from a guy that for the past probably 3 years has researched MBA programs around the country, and really like gone there, looked at them, aside from Western Governors, that's online of course, but gone there and really researched this stuff to find out like, okay, well, is this stuff actually something that could be applied in my business or in somebody else's business? And in my opinion, there is applicability in some cases, but for the most part, unless you really want an MBA, it may not be something that I just want to say it like this. I don't want to push anybody away from it, but it's not something you need to run a business. You don't need an MBA to run a business. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave the table right there. I'll leave the topic on the table right there.
I completely agree. Honestly, what I've learned, or what's been my best, tutelage, or whatever you're going to call it, is failures, man, and messing up. Honestly, like going into something and like, especially business. Honestly, and I'm gonna say this right. I'm gonna say this for sure.
Tell us, man. Tell us.
Basic training, going to Afghanistan, my master's program, nothing compares to the difficulty of owning and running your own business. It's because there's so many variants, there's so much stuff that can go. It's a bunch of stuff that can go right, but it's a bunch of stuff that can go wrong as well.
Yep.
And you just gotta. That's another good thing about being military is that you're already resilient, and you're gonna have to have that resiliency because you're gonna take a bunch of L's. Being a business owner just happens, man. Because some stuff you don't know, some stuff you just can't foresee. And then like a lot of times, like for me, I'm pretty much, a one-man shop. So time is one commodity that's kind of hard to come by for me right now. And it's just, yeah, man. So, but one thing I will say, whether it's MBA certification, opening up a business, whatever you're trying to do, just start. That's the main damn thing is just start. Because that's what I've noticed is a lot of times if I start something, as long as I just start, do the first step, okay, that wasn't bad. Second step, and then just figure it out. And another reason why I say just start is because, time is flying, and a lot of times things take a lot longer than you thought. Because honestly, I thought I was, the best damn instructor in the world. I thought it was, this is going to be 2-3 weeks. I'm going to have $1 million on Lamborghini. Not at all, man. Not at all. You have to.
Yeah.
And another thing, like you said, the NBA, they kind of do it, but how important, like you said, marketing is, whether it's, email campaigns, Facebook marketing, LinkedIn, whatever, just marketing, because that's one of the good thing about the internet is that you can have a whole business, no brick and mortar needed, no money needed, no nothing needed. But the hardest thing now with social media is just, people knowing who the hell you are. That's one of the most difficult things, is just trying to figure, okay, I know who this guy is, but do I trust him? Okay, now they trust me. Yeah. And they know me, but do they think I got a good product? Okay, they think I got a good product, but do they want to, so it's just boom, boom, just, a lot of hard work, but it's definitely worth it though, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think you brought up a good point there, and people have to trust you. And then also they're going to love and hate you. Like some days,
definitely,
there's people that hate my guts. Some people love you all the time. I mean, you just have to, one of the advantages of the military is for the most people, it gives you thick skin.
Indeed.
And, you're going to need that if you ever want to be a business owner. Like you're going to deal with friends, family. I mean, I've had family steal from me. You're going to deal with all sorts of stuff, and it's not, as Dwayne mentions, it's not it's what's the old adage? It takes 10 years to be an overnight success or something, but
yep,
that's the reality. I mean, it's the discipline, right? And Tania, who I had on the podcast a few weeks back, she made a perfect thing, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but but that's okay. It's not about motivation, but it's about dedication, right? So it's the little things you do every day. In her example, she's a bodybuilder, mom, all this stuff, military spouse. She's doing all these things, but she, like most of us, she doesn't want to get up at 3 a.m. every day. But she does it because, hell no. That's the reality, right? Like nobody in the normal mindset likes to get up at 3 a.m. Nobody. I don't care who how much you talk big and bad. Like if I gave you the option to sleep in until 10, you would, or at least past 3. But it's about the small things you do every single day. And that's exactly what business is, because you're going to learn something every single day. You've got to learn and adapt and apply it immediately. Like when I'm talking to you, I'm actually looking at my bookshelf, and this is the smaller bookshelf, by the way. And I'm looking at I'm looking at books stacked everywhere. Books, I probably bought 30 books recently of different things because I needed them to be able to learn like 1 or 2 things in the book to then apply it in my business.
Right.
And I'm going to send you a list, by the way, through LinkedIn. I forgot I'll send you the list of the books I bought recently and see if you have
Please do. Please do.
Oh yeah. You know it, man. You know it. I got you back, man. I got you back. But that's for those listening out there. That's reality for us as entrepreneurs. Like we learn something, adapt, apply it. We have to adjust it like almost daily. A lot of times we have to, as Rob mentioned, we have to put our names out there all the time and be relevant. And it's a huge lift. It's a huge sacrifice to have your own business. So I don't want to scare anybody off, right? I don't want to scare people away like, oh, I don't want to do my own business now because they scared me to death. It's well worth it. As you mentioned, it's well worth it. But, there's a risk involved. There's a lot of work involved. It's a lot of hard work, right? That's why 99% of people don't do it, But I think that if you're willing to put in the work over a long period of time, the financial rewards, maybe not in your first business, maybe not in your 5th business, but maybe at the 10th business, it pays off, But I think for me, it's worth it. I like it. I like the aspect of, you can control the creativity. You can do the things you want to do. You can really make an impact in people's lives. I'll get off my my spiel there. I'll let you kind of
No, you good.
chime in, man.
No, but one thing that I wanted to pin on, just in general, whatever your endeavor is, whether it's opening up a business or doing something else, just don't worry about. Now, there's a difference between criticism and somebody being constructive with the criticism. Now, some people I mean, it's the internet, so it's gonna be some people in it that are just stupid, for lack of a better term, just people that are just maybe their life isn't going the way they want it to, or you're trying to do something that they want to do and they just think they can't do it. And they, people are going to say, people say stupid stuff to me. I literally, not trying to be cool. I literally don't care. Like, I don't know you. I never met you. And you're obviously unhappy. So it doesn't really matter. So you just have to get used to, people just saying stuff. Like you said, sometimes people may like it. Sometimes people may feel it. But what I was going to say is, with social media, whatever you're doing, you have to be super duper careful to not care as much about, for one, people's opinion, and two, likes and comments. It's about the conversions and actually selling. Because there's some, you may get 300 likes, 400 likes, whatever. Whatever your end goal is, whether it's getting a job, selling a product, whatever you're trying to do, if it's not happening, like, that doesn't matter. Because I think that's another thing, like, with social media. People kind of like are living off of likes, and I don't know. I don't know if you can deposit likes or what.
Try paying your mortgage with likes, man. I tell you what, they don't like that. They're like, yeah, okay, sir.
I mean, like I said, it's cool because if sometimes it's kind of like the mob mentality. If you got all these likes, somebody else, I might like it too. But you actually, like you said, you want to actually make a genuine connection. And then, like I said, for all the haters or trolls or unhappy people, it's gonna be a bunch of other people in your inbox that's gonna tell you, hey, keep going, hey, you did this for me, hey, I saw you over here, I saw you do this. And that's another good thing about LinkedIn. So as far as I can see, it's the most how can I say, it's like one of the happiest places on the internet. Like, the same criticism that you would get on Instagram, you don't really get those on LinkedIn, or the same criticism you get on Facebook, you don't really get them on LinkedIn. Maybe I don't have enough followers, or I'm not out there enough for that to happen. But as far as I can see, there's not as many, I don't know if I can curse on here, so I won't, but I don't know if there's as many buttholes, on there as it is in other places. And you'll get onesies and twosies, but for the most part, it's, people on there trying to better themselves. So.
Yeah. I think, LinkedIn, I think part of the reason is people might be worried that you share it with their boss. But also I just think that, kind of the energy of LinkedIn is a little different. And I think, sort of jumping on top of what you were alluded to there, I think you also, if you're going to be a business owner, as Rob was saying, you can't let these people get to you, because if you respond inappropriately, like for example, I look at people, I look at the way people respond before I buy a lot of things. And if I see that you're jumping in on those small little battles all the time, like, oh no, I said this and that, and she said, he said, then I'm not going to buy from you. And in fact, I did that recently with somebody's program, or some kind of ads program or whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and buy this thing. It was a few $1,000s. And before I bought, I went and researched them and their social media posts from the past couple of months. And they're just in there doing all these small battles. And I'm sorry, I can't buy your product then, because then you're going to be, if I've got a question on a product, you may come back at me the wrong way or something. And it's going to hurt your business. I'll say the other thing with LinkedIn, I don't care about your personal opinions. I don't care about your political views. I don't care about your racial views. Don't do that with your business.
Nope.
Your business, money doesn't care about any of that stuff. I'll tell you right now, and wealthy people understand this. People in poverty, and I grew up very, very poor. People in poverty don't understand those things. They don't understand. They jump in all those things and they get all excited and all sorts of social media, blasting here and there. But the reality is, when you're selling in your business, if you're a smart business owner, you realize that, who cares if I don't like a certain political candidate? Like, you don't care. If you like my product, you don't want to hear about who I like in the Oval Office, right? It doesn't matter. So that's the other thing I just want to push out there. I see that, unfortunately, a lot. I see people jumping in on that just from the cybersecurity side, in their jobs and stuff. They jump in on all these conversations, and it's just not, I'm sorry, business doesn't care. Business is very I don't want to really say it's binary, but it doesn't have a soul in that aspect. You know,
Nope.
it's about the money, right? Like you don't have a business if you don't have money. That's the bottom
Yep.
line. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. You can say you have a business, right? You can be on here on LinkedIn. I'm CEO of whatever, right? I'm on Facebook. I'm CEO of whatever, but you're working at McDonald's because you don't have sales in your own business.
There you have it.
Yeah, bam. You know, we're dropping buckets of gold, buckets of golden knowledge, man. I tell you what.
Ken, before I forget, I want to say another thing is,
Yeah.
um, and me, I'm a pretty positive person, happy-go-lucky. But one thing I see that kind of is like, why are you doing it? It's okay, to be who you are on LinkedIn or social media. If you are on fries at McDonald's, that's cool. Okay, just say I'm on fries at McDonald's, but I'm trying to do this and trying to that. Don't like get on, because sometimes I just think that I don't know. Just some people just get the wrong idea. And it's like you don't have to get on there. It's like the sun is hot, so I want you to be hot and be great because everything is greatness. And trying to motivate people, like you can't. It's kind of hard to motivate somebody to accomplish something when you haven't really accomplished anything yourself. And I'm not saying if it's a small accomplishment, yeah, but don't try and motivate people when you haven't actually done anything and put the work in. And like I said, always be true to yourself. You don't have if you and like you said, and then it's kind of funny when you say I'm a CEO, I'm a business owner, but then you see them, on a post, asking for a job, or you see them on a post doing something else. Just be who you are. You don't have to have them earbuds. You don't have to be in front of a Lamborghini. You don't have to. You don't have to put on. Like, just be who you are, and then because that's what I found. Just being genuine and being myself. Has worked out pretty well, and just being honest. If I'm not doing okay, if I'm not doing well, can you help me? Because that's another thing. If you tell somebody that everything's great, everything's wonderful, they won't know that you need advice. They won't know that you need, a loan, or they won't know that you need social media marketing, or they don't know that you need to, get with Ken so he can show you about the click funnels and what books to read and how to set up a business. Like, you just need to be honest, and things will get a lot easier.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a great point across all social media, but especially LinkedIn. Yeah. I see a lot of people, I just call them pretenders, right? They've never really done anything. This is my own personal view, I guess. I don't think you should call yourself a CEO unless you've been in business at least a year and you're profitable. Or, I mean, of course, if you're taking on VC funding or something, if that's your goal, but I'm talking about like the types of businesses that Rob and I create, where we do it online. There's a terminology called micro businesses, where it's essentially like us, and then we use contractors and that sort of stuff for different tasks, but we maintain higher profit margins by doing it that way versus your traditional brick and mortar business. So I just don't pretend. Like, if you honestly, if you're out there right now and you're like, I want to start a business, and you reach out to me, or if you're just you kind of like have started something and you reach out to me and say, yeah, I'm CEO of whatever. I can tell you right now, if you're looking, if you're kind of cocky, we'll just put it like that. Like, I'm going to start asking you a bunch of financial questions.
That's right.
On your business. I'm going to start asking you a bunch of marketing questions. I'm going to throw terminology out there that you're going to have to go Google. And it's not and I don't want to make it sound like I'm like trying to be a jerk and target you. I actually want to, it's, I guess, a test is what I would call it. I want to test you to see if like you're going to actually go research those terms you don't know. If you're going to put in the work, if you're going to come back to me and say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you help me? Right. That's what business owners that have kind of been there, done that, do for each other, especially for people kind of newer to it.
Yep.
We're willing to help, but we're going to deliberately, I guess I'm using the wrong terminology. I don't want to make it sound like we're kind of being jerks across the board, but we're going to put you in situations that make you uncomfortable so you can grow as a business owner, to help you become more successful in your business and be more successful overall in life. So I think that's the best way to put that. That's what we try to do. So go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Another thing I was going to say, just to clarify something, if you have because I think that might have came out wrong. If you have a business, there's nothing wrong with having a job or looking for jobs. But
no, not at all. Yeah.
What am I damn trying to say?
But no, I think you're right on there. With there's nothing wrong with having that job while you're building up. A lot of people do that. A lot of people have a job and they build up their business.
That's the best way to do.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, even if you have a job and other opportunities, because me, I got this business, but if a teaching opportunity comes up, or if I can partner with somebody else, I'm not, oh, I'm a business owner. I only work with my, no, you know, if it's a partnership, and this, like you said, I think the biggest thing is just being humble. Because just like, because I've noticed, because I've actually not got into it, but I've kind of, you know, kind of noticed kind of an air of arrogance, you know, with some people, because like some people have MBAs. I was talking to a guy, and he was like, yeah, you know, with having an MBA, da da da. And I guess he didn't know that, which doesn't really matter to me. I guess he didn't know I had an MBA, but it's like, yeah, with having an MBA, just never, ever be cocky, because there's so much knowledge and so. Because I was talking to a guy today, and it was kind of, you know, he didn't really have as much stuff on his LinkedIn, but when he actually got into his story and like, I did this, I did that, it's like, oh, you know, if I would have tried to flex on him or try to act like I was super important, he probably would have put a bad taste in his mouth.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I have a friend here. So by the way, we both live in the greatest city in the world, but I have a friend here in town that a couple years back, he sold his company for a few $100 million.
Wow.
No college kids, but he's not on social media like that, right? He's not on LinkedIn. He's not on any of that stuff. And
You
he's
said a couple
rational.
100 million?
Yeah, I won't give the exact figure there, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll need all his contact information once we get off.
I won't share that, but eventually we'll. Oh, dude, once we get off, I will.
I'm just joking, man. But if you want to, just, hey,
well, I won't loop you in with him because he's a brick, you know, traditional brick and mortar type of guy. You know, he took like 30 years to build his stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna link you up with some people in town. Man. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you consider yourself hooked up.
Bam.
Bam. That's how you grow. Well, hey, this is actually a good point, right? Glad we kind of sidebarred there. This is a good point. When you're having these conversations and you're not a jerk, look what just happened, right? Like I've got a very ultra high net worth network that I can tap certain people into, but I don't unless I see they're doing the right things. Like it doesn't come from you begging for me to hook you up with that. It comes from the aspect of like, it just comes up in conversation. And then I'm like, oh yeah, sure, man. I'll hook you up with that. Cool.
You know, another thing that I noticed, and I want to give you some kudos about, is just being extremely positive, man. Like every time I see, you know, you always shouting out somebody, you always.
Well, except for on your post, man. I try to be the only, you know, I try to be a troll on your post, but everybody else.
No, but like I said, like you said, people, and I've actually not like completely just spazzed out and cut somebody out, but there's been a couple of times where I tried to, you know, crush people publicly because they do something stupid and it's like, okay. But like you said, the best way is just either ignore it or just tell them, hey, have a great day or whatever, because people can see. Because, you know, because sometimes, you know, ain't no telling what happened in that day. So maybe I know this guy didn't just say that. Now I'll hurry up and reply, but it's just, most of the time, you know, people can see. You know, it's like they're in a helicopter, they look down like, oh, I see exactly what this guy's doing. Like they're doing that exactly. So he said the wrong thing, or they can screenshot it and say, oh, look at what Rob said. He's a terrible person. So the best thing is just, okay, this is the internet. I don't know these people, and just have a good day.
No, exactly. Yeah. You know, and kind of jumping on that, you never really know what someone's going through in their life. And I've had hate mail in the past on like online courses and stuff, and oh, you suck or whatever.
That's right. Yep.
But then a couple weeks later, it's like, yeah, my daughter was in the hospital, so I just wasn't in the right mindset then. I apologize, whatever. The other thing I'll mention is that it's very important, because the fact you don't know what somebody's going through, like you don't know what kind of impact your post has. And without naming the person, there's a professional in the industry, and without naming a sex, I'll just say this individual.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into them recently in the past few months, and I'd done a post kind of, you know, propping them, giving them a shout out or whatever. And I didn't even think this person had seen the post, and they were having a really, really like it was just a terrible week at their job. I mean, like anything that could go wrong was going wrong. They're getting harped on by executive leadership. I mean, it was just a terrible week for this person, and they kept getting alerts on their phone from LinkedIn. They're like, oh great, what do I do now? Right? Like what else is it? You know? And it was my post. And I never, and I'm telling you, like this person didn't even comment on the post. Like it didn't really comment or whatever on the post. I think they did do one comment later on, but I didn't realize the impact this had. And I've gotten a lot of those over the years of just, you know, you don't know how whatever you're putting out there is impacting someone's life. It literally could be the difference between life and death. There's a lot of people, especially veterans, that are kind of suicidal. Mm-hmm. And your post, your positive thing, you giving them a shout out on social media, that honestly, and this sounds pretty cheesy, but that honestly could be the difference between life and death for them. They may actually be thinking that day, I'm about to go kill myself. And then, oh, huh? Rob just gave me a shout out. Oh, that's so cool, man. I feel a little bit about myself. You know what? I can do this. I can make it through. You just don't know. And that's why, being a jerk, that's just not cool. Like, and honestly, you have to be careful with that, because online, like I know a lot of people on my network are hackers. A lot of them are ethical.
And they can kill you. They can crush you. They can change your whole life for the worse. I mean,
and I know some that are kind of shady, are on the borderline, right? And it's amazing what they can do. I can tell you right now, I don't have that skill set. Like I'm not as good as some of these people out there, and I'll be freely admit that.
Neither am I, honestly.
But no, yeah, and I'm comfortable saying that. Like I'm not the world's greatest pen tester. I'm certainly not, right? I don't work full time in it. It's not my specialty, right? But I know what I know, and I can teach, basic level, people stuff, right?
Right.
But as people get more advanced, they know more than I do. I'm totally cool with that. I actually want to see people do that. I would love everyone to surpass me on whatever skills that I have. But I think the aspect of with social media, you really have to be careful, because like Rob was saying, it doesn't take a whole lot for some of these people to own your entire life. And when I say your entire life, I'm talking about your kids' accounts. I'm talking about your bank accounts. I'm talking about
everything.
The PTA posting. I'm talking about the photos that you took when you were 22, having fun at the party, everything. And so that's why just be positive. You can impact the world better that way. There's enough negative people out there. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
man, dude, if we started a business where we got paid like a nickel for every negative person out there, man,
too easy.
Tired in like what, 2 months? If even that. Phew. Maybe we should start that business, man.
We should.
We just got to find somebody to pay us, for every negative person. But yeah, just be positive with your stuff, and not like cheesy positive as we talked about earlier, like, motivation. No, like that's okay, but not like every post. Like it gets old after a while. Like, okay, all this person does is post this. They don't post anything original. They're just sharing quotes or whatever. So yeah, man, just being positive, I think is a huge aspect of it.
And another thing is, fostering, whoever likes you or whoever messes with you. Like I said, some people, like the vanity metrics and oh man, this post only got 15 likes, or this post only got 1 like, but that's one more than what's there, and then you don't know how much, like you were saying, how much that post actually helps somebody. Because that's what I've noticed is, if you're a business owner, a job seeker, whatever, if you start providing value, whatever you're trying to do is going to happen. Because like I said, through the post I do, it's providing value, but it's also like mini commercials, and I can do the same thing for you. Like, oh, I guess this guy does know what he's talking about. Especially like for job seekers, you can kill it on LinkedIn. If you want to be a developer, start, posting the games or the apps that you're developing. If you are a penetration tester, show a video of you oh man, that was about to come out crazy.
We'll leave that one. We get the idea. Yeah, man, I talk about that a lot. I talk about personal branding a lot. Like nobody knows that you're that good unless you show them. And the easiest way to show, I think a lot of times, is just turning on a camera, a screen recording software like Screencast-O-Matic or something free out there, saying, yeah, look here, this is, I haven't edited this video, but I wanted to film it real quick and post it up there. This is how you do this. You'd be amazed at how that can lead to things. And you don't know, like 6 months from now might be the time that somebody from, let's say you want to work at Google. 6 months from now, somebody from Google comes across that video that you posted. They look at your other videos because you've been consistent with that stuff, and they're like, oh, this person's pretty good. Let me give them a call. Or they have a recruiter reach out to you. Like, that's how it happens. It doesn't necessarily happen. Like there's still some value, I think, in applying for jobs, that sort of stuff. But for the most part, if you put yourself out there, you build a brand, the jobs come to you. It becomes so much easier. It's so easy at that point. Or the business deals come to you. And you'll find that, you'll have to really think about it. And, you may have to turn some stuff down that you feel is very valuable and that would be a good thing, but it may not be the best thing for your business right now.
Yep.
And yeah, putting yourself out there, I'm just surprised as how many people just won't do that. Like you don't have to be on camera yourself. I want to stress that, because when I started creating online courses, I was so scared to be on camera, man. Oh my goodness. It's like, what are people going to think of stuff? And come to find out, the content I was putting out sucked, right? That's what they hated. They're like, yeah, we like you on camera. We don't really care for that though, but the content sucks. That's what we have a complaint on. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I can fix that. I can't fix myself. You're kind of stuck with it. But yeah, just keep putting, like Rob said, keep putting stuff out there, whether it's posts, whether it's LinkedIn has articles. You guys have probably seen me put out some articles here and there. I'm not very consistent with it. I probably should be a little more than I have been, but put out articles, those stay up there, right? Put out video, training or whatever. There's a whole lot you can do, and you just have to, like, I guess, similar to business, right? Get off your butt, do it.
Pretty much.
I mean, yes, you can't. Yeah.
Just being consistent, and like you said, not expecting an immediate payoff. Like you said, it may be something that you made 2 or 3 months ago, and now they're just not getting onto it. And that's another great thing about the internet. It's there forever. So somebody that doesn't get on LinkedIn as much, maybe, you'll pop up, maybe something that you did 2 months ago, and then they go, like you said, they go see the archive of all the other videos that you've done. And like you said, it's just, I don't know, man. The great thing is with the internet, LinkedIn, social media, and all that stuff, it just makes connecting with people a lot easier, and just getting your idea, your product, your service, whatever it is, it gets, in front of a lot of people, man. Because like I said, with LinkedIn, whoever you're looking for is on there. Whoever, whether it's a CEO, a janitor, a plumber, a damn astronaut, whoever you're looking for is on there.
Yep. Yeah, and LinkedIn also has a feature that you can pull your connections. You can pull a CSV of that. And then from there, you could just sort through that, file and find people with title of CEO or whatever you're looking for. And then from there, you can target those people as far as strengthening those connections, seeing if they might be, needing your business thing or whatever. So
Kim, before I forget, another thing is this is what I do. Whenever, somebody connects with me or I connect with them, I always send them a welcome message or, hey, this is who I am. But I would always recommend, if you sell something, don't sell them right then, man.
Oh, goodness, no. Yeah. Oh.
Somehow it happens, in the first conversation, that's cool. If they ask you, hey, can you give me this? Or, hey, what do you do? Yeah. But if you just like straight up the gate, and another thing, no disrespect to anybody. But if you're in multi-level marketing, man, I don't know. I wouldn't, anyway, that's another conversation. I would just say that if you're selling something, don't sell the person the first time you meet. Don't do it. Man,
yeah, there's been many of those bombardments. Some people have the auto email set up, like, hey, my product. I'm like, did you even look at my profile? Like, it's nothing related. So.
Nothing at all.
Cool. I know I've kept you quite a bit. I know you need to get back to.
I enjoy it myself, man. I enjoy it myself.
Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate you having on. Having you on. It was definitely fun. Bantering a little back and forth. This was a great. I wasn't really sure where we were going to take this episode necessarily. We did. We kind of did. We kind of talked about the tech stuff, up front. But also, like I said, I've got a lot of business owners that listen to this thing, and so I think we've sort of dropped nuggets of information all across the board there, even in life itself. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you having you on. Any other advice you can offer people, either people trying to get a job, trying to get into tech, or people in their business, or just any life advice in general?
Start and don't quit.
There you go. Man, you summed it up. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. I'll sell you one. I'll start another business with you. Cool. All right, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on. Yeah, probably at some point we'll eventually, get some kind of podcast episode where we just banter on about the military. Of course, we're going to bash the Air Force and Navy. That's, natural.
I'm with it,
and the Marines.
I'm there. Just let me know. Just let me know when I'm there.
Exactly. Cool. All right, man. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you jumping on the podcast today.
Hey, Ken, thank you very much. And anybody that's listening, Ken Underhill is the boss of all bosses.
And I'll make sure I mail you that check we talked about to
my man.